Hey everybody, welcome back to Matthew Kelly Pottery on YouTube. I hope you are doing well. Today we're going to talk about trimming lids like this for these 3-pound jars that are going in my next wood firing here in just a couple weeks. I know I've made a video similar to this before, but this one's going to be a little bit different, mainly because of the tool I'm using to trim these lids on, and that is the sticky bat from Diamond Core Tools. And I know if you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen a short video that I made using this recently, trimming and adding a knob to a lid. And this definitely is the best tool for doing things like that. I did probably show it or mention it briefly in my video about trimming lids or feet on cups recently, but I was not able to use this in that video because the rims of those cups were uneven due to the way that I faceted the cups before I trimmed the feet on them. But it does work perfect for doing these lids. So today we're going to trim all 10 of these lids using this sticky bat, and it's pretty sweet. So let's go. Alright, so before actually we go to trimming the lids, I have to actually get the knobs ready. This is something that nobody taught me, but I used to actually take little bitty balls of clay and center them and like attach them and center them and pull them on top of the trimmed lid. And then I realized, you know what if I just actually like pulled little bitty, cylinders, kind of like and just put them on, kind of like I do with adding a top to some pots later on. That's where the idea came from. So now from then on, I've been actually like making these little bitty cylinders. I cut them off. I throw them usually on the hump like this, and then I'll just cut them off, and they don't have a bottom in them because they're just going to be a hollow knob on top of those. So I just do that, make these little cylinders, set them over on a bat, and then after I make all of these, and I usually make one or two extra just to make sure I have enough if I mess up one, and then make all these, and then I start trimming the lids, and this is how I add the knobs to all of the lids as I go. And in case you're wondering, I'm using my screwdriver that I usually use to get my bats off the wheel. I'm using it to actually cut these off of here. So I put my hand down in the inside, and I kind of hold it with my index finger and my thumb finger. And then I'm actually taking my screwdriver and wetting the clay right there, pushing the screwdriver into the clay until it cuts all the way through. And then I just lift. I normally just lift up and then put that to side. I dropped that one, so but that's how I'm actually cutting those off of the hump here. I'm not using a needle tool or a wire, just using that because I can actually use the screwdriver to help me lift it up after I cut all the way through. So after I do that, lift up, and there we go. Alright, now that we have all of the knobs already thrown, or the beginning of the knobs already thrown, I will try again. I've had some challenges already. I've already picked up one lid, I dropped it on its side, I did trim one lid, but it didn't go the way I wanted it to, so we're starting again. You can see there's already one lid I have trimmed and got a knob on it, but anyway, so it's been an interesting day for recording. So anyway, I get this centered on the wheel. One thing you have to be careful of is I have had lids that if they get too dry, or pots in general, if they get too dry and then you try to apply too much pressure, I mean, you can slide a pot on the sticky bat even though it is a sticky bat. So especially if you're trying to carve too much too quickly, or if the piece is getting dry, that makes it harder because you're creating more resistance. But I have, like I said, it's still been a great tool. It's still a lot easier than adding lugs to the bottom of the piece, or even wetting the bat, or wetting the rim of the. I used to wet this part right here and then stick it to a bat, and that would create a suction. The only problem with that is it would create a flat place where I wet that, and I would kind of smush it in place to create that suction, and that would create actually a sharp spot on the underside of the lid, and I didn't like that. I would have to go back and sand that later to clean that up. Alright, for attaching the knob, I just use my fingernail and make a little circle there to know where the center is. I pick up one of my cylinders that I made over here. I usually add a little bit of water just to the bottom side right there, and because this has been freshly thrown, it will adhere pretty well to this freshly trimmed part of the lid. So I set that down on there. Then I kind of add some water and then use some down pressure to kind of push that down. And then I'll come to the bottom here, add some water, and then I usually use my thumbnail to kind of like attach that on the outside and to clean up that area where it's attached together. I'm not too worried about how it looks on the inside because you're never going to see that. I am making hollow knobs, but I do come back later and drill a hole up through the inside of the lid into the knob so that that air has a way to escape. So then I form the underside of the knob, and then I just basically close off and trap that air inside, and then I can use the air inside to then help use it to my advantage to help shape the outside of the knob. And several of these I'll come back and like this and put some lines in, some places for the glaze to break, and some decoration. And then there we go. I did decide to draw the line on there because I realized that was going to make my life easier if I did. I don't know why I was being difficult, but here we go. Trimming them now with the line on there. Help me center them that much quicker. Well, there we go. We have all, well, 9 lids trimmed now. This is the one that I picked up and fell out of my hand, and I dropped it on that side, so I don't think that one's repairable or trimmable. So it's a good thing I had one extra as it was. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, and I had one. I have 10 jars. I usually like to have an extra lid. This was a lid left over from last firing or last time I made pots for the wood kiln, and I had extra lid, and I just kept it, and it fit one of the jars, and I'm like, hey, that's perfect. That's the reason you keep extra lids around. But that one is not going to make it, and I will not have an extra lid unless for some reason these don't fit or I can't arrange them properly to fit. Then I'll make a few more. But either way, like I said, wanted to show you this sticky bat, and a couple things I learned today about this is it's not foolproof. Of course it's not foolproof, but if these lids were a bit drier, more dry than I would like them to be while trimming, and if you push too hard and it's too dry, then you can move it off this, so it's not a 100% sticky bat in that sense. But of course, nothing's going to stick. If you push too hard, it's going to slide. So that happened a time or two with this, and just something learning, and realized that I went and bought some clay earlier today while these were sitting out drying, and it took a little longer than I expected, so they just got a little bit more dry than I would like them to be for trimming. But either way, I got them trimmed, and they look pretty good, and excited to put them on these jars, and even more excited to fire my wood kiln here in a couple weeks. But thank you guys for being here as always, and I hope you learned something today. And if you have any questions or comments about this, you can leave them down below in the comments section. Other than that, that's all I have for you today, and I hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.